Hey everyone, it's Matt Heggelund, Product Manager, MPOWR Envision. Excited to be back today with another product release video. This one we're going to be covering what was in our July release, which was released to everybody yesterday. The main focus of this release is something we're calling Plan KPIs. It's kind of the final piece of the puzzle in regards to our KPI functionality that we've been working on over the past couple months. And I think it's almost probably one of the most powerful parts of the work we've done recently. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what I'm talking about. From the dashboard here, I am actually going to create a new plan and start from there. So nothing new here. I'm just creating a new plan. We're going to call this July video. First step of the plan, pretty straightforward. On this second step where I can see the plan structure and change the titles if I need to, this is where we're going to take a moment and talk through a few of the changes. So nothing's changed at the screen I'm at right here, at least the top half, but as I scroll down, you're going to see some difference here, and I'm going to actually pop back up here. So previously, we've always had KPI functionality in Envision, but it's been more at the global level, the high level, where the KPI was not necessarily part of the plan, but the health of a KPI would still feed into the overall plan health, which was great when you were looking at overall how it was doing, but it was difficult to link those KPIs to specific strategies and objectives. Now, with this new plan KPI functionality, a KPI can live both at that global level and at the plan level. So if I look at the strategic activities section, previously I would only be able to use tactics and action items. And a tactic, just to cover it real quick, a tactic is really a group of action items, or now a group of action items and KPIs. Also at this level, I can just have an action item, or I can just have a KPI, or I can have a combination of both. So in this strategic activities section, I can use as many different combinations between those types of entities as I want under each strategy or objective. So, being that each strategy and objective might be unique and how you want to measure and execute, the flexibility of being able to choose how you want to measure and execute in the strategic activities section is very robust and powerful. And I think it's going to add a much greater value and success to our clients that are executing their plans. So we're going to see the KPI in both places up top here in the strategic activities, and you're also going to see it down at the global activities. So if we notice, the arrow on this global activities goes all the way up to the plan. So you can still have the global high-level KPIs feed into the overall plan health, which is great for those board members or executives. Those global KPIs are more long-term, are aligned with your vision, mission, and values. They're probably measured less frequently, maybe on a monthly, quarterly, or annual frequency. And again, those are usually important to your board members and executives or investors. Whereas these KPIs at the plan or strategic activity level, those are about more monitoring the process and activities that support your plan, strategies, and objectives. They're usually more short-term in nature, so you're probably measuring them on a weekly, monthly, and maybe a quarterly basis or frequency. They kind of provide immediate feedback to allow you to notice when something is going wrong, or take action on specific strategies and objectives and get them back on track, or change direction or pivot before it's too late. These KPIs are usually owned by kind of the lower level of the organization, or tiering down from the high level. So directors, managers, and associates would own those. So just a quick difference on the global versus the plan KPI, as we're going to refer to that quite often as we go forward in this version and also going forward. So again, strategic activities, these are going to be my plan KPIs, and then down in that global activities section, those are my global KPIs. So from here, I can rename key performance indicator, let's say milestone, and you're going to notice that it's going to update it in all places. So if you change the terminology of key performance indicator to something different, it's going to change in both the plan and the global level. So at this point, I would essentially have global milestones versus plan milestones. I'm going to just close that real quick. And let's proceed through the wizard here. So nothing's changed on this step. I'm just going to click next through the vision, mission, and values for now. Nothing has changed here. But I want to stop here at the plan builder level and show you a couple different things that you'll notice. So throughout the application, not even in the plan builder itself, but also after your plan's created, as you make adjustments and create things after the fact, um, we've provided a new wizard experience throughout. So over the past couple months, we've done the KPI wizard. Late last year, we did the plan creation wizard, which we're in now. So just providing a more wizard experience, which provides some context and background around what you're creating and tries to walk you through it so you know how to properly configure it and get the most out of what you're setting up and ultimately envision. So I'm going to click add new on this first thing here, and what's going to tell me is that it's at this level. It doesn't give me an option to choose what I'm creating. I have to create a segment, but towards the top of the screen, you're going to see that it explains what a segment is. Also has a link to click here to learn more, which is going to provide not necessarily how to set up a segment in regards to like feature, like how do I actually do it in the software, but more about like from a strategic thinking place, like what is a segment? How do I define a segment? So we provided some resources here that'll help walk you through it at each level of the plan. So you can essentially, think about it and brainstorm outside of Envision of what do I need segments to be and how do I think about them. And then once you kind of create that context outside of Envision, we can come back in here and simply create it in Envision through this wizard process. So I'm just going to create a segment here. I'm going to call it segment just for name purposes and click save. Now under segment, I'm going to click add new, and it's going to tell me, oh, you can create a strategy here, which is great. I'm just going to name it strategy. Again, I can click here to learn more. Something to point out though, before I move on real quick too, is this target state. So previously, this is not a new field. We've just changed the description of that field. So, previously it was actually just called description, but now we've changed description to target state. So hopefully it'll make people think like target state, what does that really mean? That's my end goal. That's what this thing will look like when it's complete. It's kind of the ideal version. Why am I doing this work, and what will the finished product look like? So you'll see target state throughout the application as well, just to think more about your end goals and how you frame the information you're putting into Envision. So I'm going to create a strategy. So from here, when I click add new under strategy, now I get a choice. So at this level, this is where the flexibility and versatility of Envision comes in. So at this point, it's going to let me choose, like, do I want to create an objective? What is an objective? Do I want to create an action item? What is an action item? Do I want to create a KPI? So hopefully it'll provide that context that you need to know what you're going to create and the proper fitting item for what you're trying to do. So at this point, I'm going to choose KPI because this is our new plan KPI. So I'm in the plan, I'm creating something. So this is, again, a plan KPI. So when I click next through these steps here, this is a plan KPI. So nothing new here in regards to when I create a plan KPI. It's the same functionality we've been talking about the past couple months. So regardless if you're creating a plan KPI or a global KPI, what you're going to see after creating and configuring is going to be the same. It's just a matter of where that KPI lives. So from here, I'm just going to click through here and click next. And I'm not going to cover these KPI types. We've done that in previous releases, and we're also going to have a webinar next week that reviews all of the previous months, work. As we've worked on KPIs pretty heavily over the first half of this year, we want to take a moment and do a more in-depth review of all of the KPI functionality, how to best use it, how to best implement it so you're getting and taking full advantage of the functionality inside of Envision and seeing a return on your investment. So I'm just going to click through here. I'm just going to leave everything alone and just click save. So at this point, I've created a plan KPI, which is awesome. This is something that's new to Envision in regards to this plan and being able to link it and have a KPI live directly under a strategy or directly under an objective. At this point, I can add something new here as well, and I can do an action item. And I'm just going to call this is an action item. I'm just going to leave all these fields the way they are just for time purposes and click save, just to show you that essentially under this strategy, I can have multiple KPIs or action items. And this will be easier once we to visualize once we actually get out of the plan creation. And I'm just going to complete this for right now. And I'm going to go back to my dashboard. From here, I'm going to jump into our Scoops demo plan, which if you've watched the previous videos, we've set up a fictitious ice cream company for demonstration purposes. So I'll go ahead and click into my Scoops demo plan, and let's take a look at some other changes you'll see with the plan KPIs. So from the strategy overview here, I want to concentrate first on the KPI dashboard. So if I go up here and go to my key performance indicator area, so a couple things we're going to notice here is across the top here, you're going to notice a new location filter. By default, we're going to see both icons, which the one on the left is my plan icon. The one on the right is my global icon. So from here, if I only want to see global or plan, I can simply toggle one off, and now I'm only seeing plan KPIs. And you'll notice in the right corner of this card, I see the plan icon, which lets me know that that's a plan KPI. So if I'm looking at both, I can easily identify by just looking at the card if with that globe icon, if it's a global, if the plan icon, it's a plan KPI. You'll also notice that previously this dashboard had cards listed in a single column. Now we've made it a 2-column card view, so you can see more cards on one screen. And another thing to point out here too is the grid view. Previously this was not available on the KPI dashboard, but from the grid view I can also see all of my KPIs. And again, you're going to see this location, which lets me identify if something is a global or plan. You'll also notice we have type, so you can see what type of KPI it is, basically how am I measuring it, linear, stepped, or static. You'll also notice a little calculator icon on some of these, which are our advanced calculation enterprise feature that we talked about last month. So just wanted to touch on the KPI dashboard to show you this new location filter to easily identify how to tell the difference between a plan KPI and a global KPI. When you are on the KPI dashboard, you have the ability to add new. Adding new from here, adding a new KPI from here is always going to create a global KPI. So that's something to point out, as well as from the KPI dashboard creating, that's always going to be a high level global KPI. You're just basically attaching that KPI to the overall plan, but not necessarily connecting or linking it to a specific strategy or objective. So now I'm going to switch back and go to my strategy overview. Okay, so from here on the strategy overview, a few things you're going to notice. If I scroll down here, I've already got a plan KPI that I created previously. So now from the Sunburst, I will be able to look through and find plan KPIs. If I click on this, you're going to notice on the right, I get a KPI card. Again, it shows me the plan icon in the upper right corner, lets me know it's a plan KPI. The only way to view global KPIs at this point is going to your KPI dashboard. But now, since this, with the plan KPIs, they're part of the plan, and the Sunburst shows you how to navigate through the plan, you'll be able to find those plan KPIs from the Sunburst. Same thing, you can find it on the strategy tree as well if you navigate through and find a plan KPI through the tree. So I'm going to scroll down and show you a few other things too that we're going to talk about changes. So on the cards, you're going to notice we've also placed a entity icon. So for the segment, it's a little puzzle piece. And we've also, under the title of the segment, we've put that it's a segment. So just providing, again, some more context around what you're looking at and what it is. So as I look at these cards, I know this is our product. It's a segment. It's the top level. And it's got 5 strategies that live underneath it. So I'm going to go into our product. And from here, again, we're going to see, hey, like I can see that these are all strategies. Up top here, I can see that this is a segment. So I'm looking up here at my segment, and I'm looking at all of the items below it, which are strategies. So for my purposes, I'm going to click into Scoops branding. And now I'm at a level, I'm at the strategy. So under a strategy, this one specifically, I don't have an objective. Again, an objective is not a requirement. You can choose to have an objective under a strategy or not have an objective. So at this point, I do not have an objective. So I'm looking at tactics, action items at KPIs that live underneath Scoops branding. So again, at the top, we're going to look and you're going to see that Scoops branding is a strategy. The target state of that strategy, and then the bottom half is going to show me everything that is part of that strategy, all the things I'm doing to accomplish and work towards the target state of that strategy. So you're going to notice on the cards again, I have my tactic icons and it tells me it's a tactic. Over here, I have my check icon that tells me this is an action item. And then down below, I have a planned KPI that tells me, this is a KPI and it's a static KPI in regards to how the type of KPI that I'm using at that level. So just a little more intuitive way to look at these things and again, provides you the knowledge to know where you're at and what you're looking at. So something else to point out here is this new type filter. So again, the chess piece is going to be my tactics, my check marks, it's going to be my action items, and then KPIs. So by default, I'm seeing them all. But if I only wanted to see KPIs, I can simply click KPIs and get to that. If I only want to see action items or action items and KPIs, you can go ahead and do that. And this works as well with both the card view and the grid view. So now I'm looking at everything, and again, it has the type icon here so I can know what I'm looking at. So let's go ahead and real quick and try to add something new at this level. And again, we're going to see that it's going to allow me to choose what I want to create. So again, like the wizard experience we talked about earlier, objective is grayed out because like I said before, I've skipped the objective level at this strategy. So again, it won't let me choose that. But again, if it was a choice, it would allow me to choose it. But at this time, I can choose an action item or a KPI. So creating a KPI, since I'm on a strategy, this is going to be a planned KPI. I could choose the action item. You could choose a combination of both. So I could choose KPI here and click next. And again, this is a planned KPI. And as I go through here, same screens. Again, the functionality in the wizard of creating a KPI is going to be the same whether it's a planned KPI or global KPI. It's just a matter of where I'm adding that KPI. So if I go back, I'm looking at the KPI, but if I go back to Scoops branding, again, you're going to see that I have additional KPI here created. So again, this plan KPI, the ability to have plans, plan KPIs and action items live at the same level. You have the flexibility and the versatility to control how you want to measure and execute. It's a robust thing that we've added to Envision. I think it's going to truly help people execute their plans and measure their plans how they best see fit. Like we talked about earlier, every strategy or objective might be unique, and you can now uniquely control and define how you want your people in the plan to measure and monitor their success. Action items are not a measure, but they're more of the things you need to do. You're not going to measure them, but you need to do, and you have some sort of gauge of the health, but it's more of a strategic journal. I'm going to add progress notes of the things that I'm doing outside of KPIs, the guts of things, whether things are done or not. Whereas the KPIs are more about, inputs, outputs, and measures of success. How good am I doing against the goals I've measured? So again, using both of those in tandem is really a powerful tool. We hope you like this functionality. We hope you join us for our webinar next week. There'll be a link to it in the email address, or if you go to our website, you'll find it there as well. And then again, if you go to or email support@mpower.com, we can get you more information. And don't always forget to the help menu down here is where you can access some more information, knowledge-based articles, and request support or even submit ideas. If you have an idea for Envision, we love feedback and we welcome it. So we welcome to submit your ideas and help make Envision better, not only for yourself, but for all of our customers, so we can all be more successful together. Again, thanks for watching this video today, and we hope you enjoy it and look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.